Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Diego. Welcome everyone to the DOB Now Licensing Fall 2024 release for Site Safety Professional Licenses. Diego mentioned some of this, but I want to review it just so we're all on the same page. You will remain muted for as long as we're going through the training. You will have time at the end to ask questions if you want to ask them verbally. But there is a chat feature where you can ask questions, and we have DOB experts on hand to answer your questions. Please do ask any questions you have. We will do our best to answer them, but there may be some questions that come up that we need to do research on. We'll put those in what we call our parking lot and research what the answer is and then get back to you. There may be a survey sent out after this training. If there is, we would like you to let us know if the training was valuable or if there's anything we can do better. And I encourage you to participate and ask your questions. We want to make sure that you fully understand what's going on. So here's what we're going to cover in today's training. We're going to start with an overview of site safety professional licenses. Then we're going to touch briefly on required documents, statuses, and licensing fees. We'll talk about the license process flow, how your license applications are reviewed. And then we're going to get into how to register and pay for the license exam for site safety managers. There's a new feature where there's a public portal application search. I'll show you how that works. And then we'll talk about how to log into DOB Now licensing and get into the new license application process. I will be demoing this in the system as well as going through it in the PowerPoint. We'll talk about how to respond to objections and how to request reconsideration. We'll then talk about how you actually get the license once your license application is approved. Once you have a license, there are options that you can have to manage your license. You can renew it, you can get it reissued, you can change your named agent, you can update your business information, and a new feature, there's 18-month trainee enrollment for site safety manager trainees. We'll talk about how to update your name and your address or your address, and then we'll finish up with some important notes. The site safety professional license classes covered in this training are site safety manager, site safety coordinator, and construction superintendent. So let's do a quick overview of what these licenses are. In New York City, all site safety professionals are required to be certified by the Department of Buildings. Site safety licenses as of October 16th will be issued by DOB Now through DOB Now, the self-service online tool. We'll talk a little bit about how to register for a DOB Now account if you don't have one. And as of October 16th, as I said, this is next week, DOB Now licensing is going to replace DOB Now Biz options for all site safety professional license related transactions. It's important to understand that new transactions as of October 16th, 2024 will be submitted via DOB Now licensing. Any actions you take prior to October 16th will be on DOB Now Biz options. Now, if an application has been submitted for anything related to your license through DOB Now Biz options before October 16th, it will continue in DOB Now Biz options. You will not have to refile it in DOB Now licensing. So anything that's submitted prior to October 16th will remain in Biz options. Only things that are submitted on or after October 16th will be in DOB Now licensing. To become a site safety professional in New York City, an applicant is required to meet the license criteria, age, language, experience, and so forth, complete a site safety course, a 40-hour site safety course for construction superintendents, a 40-hour site safety coordinator course for site safety coordinators, or a 40-hour site safety manager course, and a site safety manager examination for site safety managers. You also need to have or obtain a site safety training supervisor card. As of October 16th, you'll begin the application in DOB Now licensing. You'll upload all required documentation, including your experience verification forms, pay the required fees, and then submit the license application. So the qualifications for all these licenses are that you have to be at least 18 years old, you have to be able to read and write the English language, you need to be fit to perform the work that's authorized by the license, and you must have good moral character. I touched on this briefly, but I want to make sure this is clear. DOB approved training required for each license type is listed here. And as Diego said, you can download a copy of this presentation from the licensing training materials. I'll show you how to get there. So if you ever have any questions, you can come back and check. For construction superintendent, it's a 40-hour site safety training course. For site safety coordinators, it's a 40-hour site safety coordinator training course that must have been completed within 1 year prior to application. Site safety manager applicants need to have a 40-hour site safety manager training, and they must have passed a department-sponsored site safety manager examination within 1 year prior to application. Site safety professionals require specific experience levels for each license class. The following slides list examples of acceptable areas of work. For more details about the qualifying experience for each license class, such as the number of years, role, setting, or location, you can go to the licensing unit site safety professional web pages. Now, I want to note that this is a link in the presentation. If you click on it, it will open up the site safety professional pages, and I'll point out where we have links. Experience verification forms from all supervisors for the years you are claiming as experience are required to be uploaded as PDFs to DOB Now licensing. So as a high-level overview, site safety managers must meet at least one of the following 9 requirements. There is a website that you can get specifics about what these requirements are, but I'll give you a quick overview here. Site safety managers can be a registered design professional. They can hold a certified safety professional certification. They can have served as a New York City certified site safety coordinator. They can be a New York City registered concrete safety manager. They can hold a construction health and safety technician certification. They can have experience in a supervisory role with full-time responsibility over workers on construction that is subject to a site safety plan. And to complete the list, they can have served as a New York City Department of Buildings enforcement official, including inspection of major buildings for compliance with Chapter 33 of the Building Code. They can have completed an 18-month on-the-job safety manager training program under supervision of a certified site safety manager. And they can have completed a site safety manager apprenticeship program that was approved by the New York State Department of Labor. Site safety coordinators must meet at least one of the following 6 requirements. Again, there's a link for more specifics. They can be a registered design professional. They can hold a certified safety professional certification. They can have experience as a New York City registered concrete safety manager. They can hold a construction health and safety technician designation. They can have experience supervising workers full-time on construction that is subject to a site safety plan, or they can have experience as a New York City Department of Buildings code enforcement official, as we saw for site safety managers. Construction superintendents must meet at least one of the following 8 requirements, and this is, again, going to be 2 slides. They can have experience as a full-time project supervisor with on-site responsibility over construction or demolition, either in New York City or in the rest of the United States. They can hold a New York State professional engineer registered architect license card or certificate. They can hold a certified safety professional designation or a construction health and safety technician designation, plus have completed an 8-hour site safety course. They can hold a site safety manager, site safety coordinator certificate, or concrete safety manager registration and have completed a 8-hour site safety course. They can have experience as a building code enforcement official and have completed an 8-hour site safety course. You'll see this is a common theme for these. They can have experience as a safety official for a governmental entity or construction firm, or as a safety manager or safety engineer for a construction safety consulting firm. And they can have experience working with plans in a relevant construction trade and have completed a 40-hour site safety course. Now, the next few sections are things where I'm going to touch very briefly on the topic and show you where to get more information. Specifically, documents. We have an overview of what documents are required for new license applications, for renewals, and for reissues, and that is in the required documents spreadsheet, which is on the DOB Now licensing resources page. Let me show you the spreadsheet, and then I'll show you how to get to the licensing resources page. So this is the spreadsheet, and it talks about what you need for new license applications for site safety manager, site safety coordinator, construction superintendent, and also the 2 other license types that we're issuing as part of this release, HMO and lift director. And you'll see the different options here. And then we also have the same thing for renewal applications, for business change, so on and so forth. So that's all in there. Now, to get to the licensing resources page, you go to the DOB Now login page, and you're going to go see where it says DOB Now licensing. You're simply going to click under there for resources. And that will give you a link to all of the DOB Now licensing resources, including these presentations. This is the one that I'm doing right now. Some step-by-step and resources guides, including the fees and so on, the documents, the statuses, some video tutorials, excuse me, and some additional information. So all of the resources I'm linking to from this training document, from this training presentation, you can also reach directly here. Now, there's a similar thing for statuses. We have listed all of the statuses that apply to license requests in the licensing statuses document, which looks like this. It'll tell you what the status is, the different statuses, where your application is, and what they mean. Similarly for fees, all license request fees can be found in the licensing fees document. Now, it's important to note, license renewal requests may have a late fee, and the late fee applies if the renewal request is filed 30 days or fewer before the expiration date of the license, or up to 1 year after the expiration date of the license. And again, the document is available on that page that I showed you, and here's the list of fees. So let's talk about what the process is to get a license. So the steps here apply to any of the licenses, but it's important to note, site safety manager applicants, before they start the process in this process flow, must register and pay for, and then pass an examination before they start submitting their application. So the process for this is that the applicant completes their application, pays their fee, and submits their application in DOB Now licensing. This will then go to the background unit that will complete the background check. And we're talking about the happy path here. Everything's great, and DOB approves your license application. Once that happens, you as the applicant will need to schedule an appointment to come into DOB, get your picture taken, and get your license card. And at that appointment, DOB will issue the license card. So we talked about exams. Let's talk about how to register and pay for a license exam. This process only applies to site safety managers and, by the way, to elevator agency directors, co-directors, and inspectors who have been doing this through DOB now for over a year. We're focusing right now on site safety managers. To be eligible to take the exam, applicants cannot have taken the exam in the last 14 days, and they cannot have taken it 3 or more times in the past 6 months. If neither of those apply, you can take the exam. Exams are not given by the Department of Buildings. Once the exam is paid for, it will be scheduled through an approved exam vendor, and you will then upload your score report as part of your application. So you're going to go to the DOB Now login page, but you don't have to log in to do this. You'll look at the additional tools section, and you're going to click on license exam application / payment. And by the way, the DOB Now homepage, I don't know if I mentioned this, is available at nyc.gov/DOB Now. It's pretty easy to remember. Clicking on that will get you this box, which allows you to either make a new payment, or you can repay an exam fee if there was a return check. Choosing new payment will open the exam fee details pop-up, and you'll have to fill out everything in here. It will ask if you're taking the exam for the first time. If you say yes, you can go on. If you say no, it'll ask you what the date was for your last exam. And then you fill in all of your information here and click create. A pop-up notification will state that the record was saved, and then you'll click OK to continue. Now a proceed to pay button will appear. When you click it, you'll get a pop-up payment confirmation notification that's going to ask you to confirm that you want to make your payment. You'll click yes. The system will then take you to the NYC City Pay site. There'll be a quick confirmation to confirm it, but it will take you to the NYC City Pay site to pay the exam fee. You can pay by e-check, by credit card, or by PayPal or Venmo. Note that payments made by e-check can take up to 10 business days to process. As part of this training, I am not going to show you CityPay and how to use it. We have step-by-step guides and videos on how to do this on the DOB Now resources pages. So you can always check there. Once you've made your payment, CityPay will provide a receipt that payment has been made. It looks like this. And you'll get a notification back on the DOB Now homepage that says that payment has been submitted. Your information, once the payment is processed, will be sent to the exam vendor, who will contact you directly to schedule the exam. So let me show you this in the system. This is the DOB Now login page. You'll note that this is actually not the address I told you, because since this is not live in the system, I have to show you in one of our internal systems, but it will look exactly like this. So down here, you'll see the additional tools section, and the right button is license exam application / payment. You click that and scroll down a little, and you'll see license exam application / payment. We're going to make a new payment because that's the most often. For license type, we'll choose site safety. And for license class / class type, we'll choose manager, which is the only option here. Note, if you are not taking the exam for the first time, you have to put in the date of the last exam you took. If you were, you click yes. You then put in your email and the rest of your information, and then you'll click create. Once you click create, you'll be able to make your payment. I don't think I need to show you how to fill in all of your information, but I do want to note that one of the things about all DOB Now pages is that if there is a required field, there is a red asterisk next to the name of the field. So for example, the only field that is not required in this form is the middle initial, because not everyone has one. Now let's talk about another new feature that you'll see in the public portal. There is a new application search on the public portal, and it allows any member of the public to look up DOB Now permits by applicant and DOB Now licensing application numbers. So when you submit your license application, if you want to know how it's doing without logging into DOB Now, you can do it by just putting in your license application number. And when you do that, you'll see a pop-up that will provide details of the license application. In this particular case, with this application number, the status was the application has been approved. and it tells me what the applicant name was, the license type, the license class or class type, and the modified date. So this is a quick way to check on the status of your application without having to log in. Speaking of logging in, let's talk about how that works. In case you haven't logged in since June, DOB Now integrated with NYCID in June 2024, requiring all returning and new users to have an NYCID account to log into DOB Now. The process for creating an NYCID account is very straightforward. It's a single process. You only have to do it once. It's a multi-step process, but a single process, one time. The process for existing DOB Now users is you go to log into DOB Now and you'll be taken to the NYCID page to create your account. Once you create your account, check your email. You'll get an email asking you to confirm and activate the account. You'll click the link in the email, and then you'll be able to log into DOB Now. If you are a new user, you still are doing those steps where you log in, you create the account, you confirm your email, and then log into DOB Now. But there will be one extra step where you have to create your profile by associating your login with any licenses you currently hold. Once you've done that once, you'll get to go to your dashboard in DOB Now and continue working. So you're going to go to the login page and you're going to enter your email into the email field and click login. If you already have an NYCID, you're going to be directed to enter the password associated with your NYCID. If you don't, it'll take you to the NYCID site where you can enter your password. Again, step-by-step guides and videos are in nyc.gov/DOBNowTips. I will show that to you once we get into the new license. Now, I know a bunch of you probably already have licenses. That's fine. I'm going to show you the process to apply for a new license because renewals and reissues are pretty much the same process. There's the same fields, the same information, but I'm going to show it to you for a new license first. So to apply for a new license, you're going to log into DOB Now, hover over the DOB Now licensing module and select New License. And then on the dashboard, there is a button that says Plus New License. You'll click that to begin the application process. You'll need to select the radio button next to the license type you're applying for and then click Next. So for construction superintendent, that's the full thing. You'll click construction superintendent and click Next, and it'll take you in. If you choose site safety, you will be taken to a license class/class type pop-up where you have to choose either site safety manager or site safety coordinator. Choose that and click Next. You'll then get another pop-up called the Supplemental Investigation Questionnaire. You must answer all the questions on the Supplemental Investigation Questionnaire. But what questions are, you'll see, depend on the license type. Now, some of the questions require a yes, like, are you at least 18 years old? Are you fit to perform the work? If you click no, you won't be able to submit. But for site safety licenses, there will also be a series of questions where you only have to answer yes to one of them. And the answers to these questions will determine which documents will be required. And I'll talk about that more when we see it in the system. You'll then click Submit at the bottom of the pop-up window. Note that once the questionnaire is submitted, the information you provided on the questionnaire cannot be changed. If you clicked the wrong thing, you're going to have to delete that application or simply come out of it without saving and start a new application. You'll be taken to the General Information tab, and a lot of the information will be auto-populated. Things like the application type, your information, so on and so forth. Now, there may be fields that you need to enter as well if you don't have them populated. Things like your home telephone number, the borough you live in, personal information like your date of birth and social security number, And if there is someone who is helping you fill it out, you need to fill out the filing representative or preparer information. Anything that is auto-filled, you cannot change on this form. So what if the information is wrong? Well, you can change that information, just not on the form I was showing you. So let me show you the form, and then we'll get into how to change that information. So we're going to log in to DOB now. And this is the first time I'm logging in today. I've already set up my NYC ID, but I have lots of logins because I try different things. You're really only going to have the one. But you'll put in your email address will be auto-populated, and then you need to put in your password and then click login. Hover over the DOB Now licensing module and get to new license. Now this is the application that I started yesterday or 2 days ago for the HMO training, so I'm going to delete that. You can always delete applications so long as you have not made payment. So we're going to click new license. And note, if I click construction superintendent, it takes me straight to the supplemental investigation questionnaire. If I click site safety, I then need to choose either site safety coordinator or site safety manager. And then we get the questionnaire. Note that there is an alert here that you need to answer yes to at least one of the below requirements to proceed. Everything above that note requires a yes for your answer. Below that note, you only need to click one of them. And you'll get a pop-up notification telling you what documents are going to be added as required. So for example, if you say, I'm a professional engineer or registered architect, then you're going to have to upload your current New York State PE or RA card and certificate. And then you can answer no to the rest of them, but you must answer all of them in order to be able to click submit. You'll get the confirmation that it can't be changed after it's submitted. And we're going to say we want to submit. Now, some of this information cannot be changed and some of it can. So I'm going to enter the required information here, and then I'm going to show you how to change your address. You can update your address here. It's not forbidden, but if you want to change it generally for your account, I'll talk about how to do that. I'm just going to make sure that I enter all the information here. You'll see I use January 1st for a lot of my sample data. So let's say you need to change the address associated with your account. If you do not currently have any DOB licenses, the General Information tab is going to have information that's auto-populated from your NYC ID and DOB Now account. In order to change your name or email address, you're going to go up to the upper right and select Manage/Associate Licenses from this little person icon in the top right corner. And then you can, to update your NYC ID account, there is a link right here to change so that would be how you update your name. To change your address, you're going to click the edit button here. Now, if you have an existing DOB license, the general information section will be auto-filled from that license information. And I will show you towards the end of this presentation how to update your license name or address information. It's in the Manage Profile section of the presentation. And this is a link if you're going through it and just want to hop there. So going back to our application, you'll need to mark whether you are a city employee to complete the General Information tab, and then you'll click Save. Once you click Save, a notification will display which information cannot be changed after saving. And you'll click Save again to move forward, and then you'll click OK to confirm the application has been saved. Once you do that, a new section will show up, which is optional. It is the business information section. If you have a business that is associated with your license, you'll click plus add business information to enter that information. You'll get the pop-up with the business information, so you can enter all of this information and click save. And you can repeat as needed if you have more than one business associated with your license. The license use information we already saw, that's right up at the top, but this is related to businesses because you could be getting your license on behalf of a corporation or on behalf of a partnership or on behalf of a city agency. And you'll also have a section for partner or officer information, which that only becomes active once you enter your business information and click save. So once you have a business associated with your license, you can enter partner or officer information for that business. You'll click plus add, and you'll get a partner or officer information. And you need to enter all of the information that is required. License number is not required, but if they have a license, you should put it in. The last thing you're going to see on the general information page has to do with named agent. Applicants who live outside of New York City are required to have a named agent. Applicants within the 5 boroughs may choose to designate a named agent. So first you're going to see a question. Do you have a named agent? If you click yes, you need to enter the named agent information and then click the checkbox to attest to the role of the named agent. If you choose not to have a named agent, there's still an attestation. It's just a different wording that you must click on. So let me show this all to you. So I entered all of the information here. I'm going to say I'm not a city employee, and I'm going to click save. I'll show you the named agent in a moment. I get my notification. Let's try that again. All right, so there appears to be an error with the system. I'll show you in the PowerPoint. All of these screenshots are going to show you exactly what you will see in the system. Once the system goes live, you're not going to have these sorts of errors, ideally, unless something goes very wrong. But we're still getting everything perfect on the back end to make sure that it works well when it goes live. After the application has been saved, you're going to see at the top of the page a status bar, and you'll see an alert show up. It's a warning, perhaps. It's not meant as a challenge, but what it says is complete all required fields that have a red asterisk. Once the save button is selected, additional sections will appear. Complete all required sections and then select the Pay Now button. After payment is submitted, you'll select the Preview to File button to submit the application. If the status bar above indicates pre-filing status, it has not been submitted to DOB for review. So saving isn't enough. You actually have to submit it by clicking Preview to File. In addition, once you click Save, a license application number will be assigned, and 5 more tabs are going to show up in addition to general information. Background investigation, qualifications/experience, child support certification, documents, and statements and signature. And we're going to go through each one of these in order. On the background investigation tab, you're going to click under license history, the plus add history button to enter details of any license, certification, or registration that you had issued to you by any city or state. You must enter at least one license, certification, or registration in this section. So when you click the button, you will get the license history pop-up where you need to enter your name, the name by which you are known on that license, the type of license, the number, the current status, whether it's active, expired, or so forth, and the expiration date. Even if it's already expired, you can still put in the expiration date. You can put in a past date. And then you will click Save. You repeat that process for any license or certification or registration that you have. The one license this doesn't apply to is your driver's license, because there's a question right below that section asking, do you currently have a valid driver's license? If you say yes, you need to enter the state and the number. If you say no, that won't pop up. You then get a couple of questions about if any licenses or government granted privileges have ever been denied, rescinded, revoked, surrendered, suspended, or disqualified. If you answer yes to either of these questions, you need to explain the details in the comments. Next, you'll see the personal information section, and this is where you enter if you have ever been known by any other names. If you have, click the plus add history button to enter any prior names, and you'll get the personal information pop up. You need to enter your prior name and the social security number associated with it, and click save when you're done. Then there's two more yes/no questions. Have you ever been employed by a city, state, or federal government agency? And are you related to any DOB employees, including through marriage? If you answer yes to either of these questions or to the two questions we saw before, then the comments field is going to become required because you need to enter details. The next section on the background investigation tab is the residence section. You need to enter the full address of all residences where you've lived for 3 or more months in the past 10 years, or since you graduated high school, whichever is less. So you'll click plus add residence, and you'll enter you need to enter them in reverse chronological order. So start with your current residence. Note there's a checkbox here, this is my current address. If you click that, the to field becomes disabled because you're currently living there. But you still need to fill in when you moved in and the address. For every residence before that, you'll need to fill in when you moved in and when you left. You'll click save after each residence is entered. And then once you're done adding all of your residences, adding each residence, you'll get a notification that's been added. So you'll repeat this as many times as necessary to show the past 10 years or since you graduated high school. The next section is the qualifications and experience tab. Right up at the top, there are 3 yes or no questions about convictions and fines. If you answer yes to any of these 3 questions, a new tab is going to appear once you save the application, and that tab is called the supplemental affidavit. It's where you explain the answers to these questions. Below that, you will see the employment history information, and you need to enter employment history for each job you are using as qualifying experience. You'll need to click the plus add experience button and enter your work history, starting with your current job and going in reverse chronological order. I do want to note that it's important for you to provide a valid supervisor's telephone number so that the background unit can do their experience verification. So you'll get a pop-up once you click plus add called the employment history information. And there's 2 tabs, employment information and wages detail. The employment information includes the dates you were employed. Again, this is my current job, we'll deactivate the employed to. You need to enter the company information, answer if the company is still in business, enter the supervisor information, and then if it is not your current job, you will need to enter your reason for leaving. You need to also fill out the wages detail tab. And here you're going to enter your title, the time period you held that title, your wages per hour, hours per week, and a description of the type of work performed, and you'll click add. Now, sometimes you may have had multiple titles at a company. You can do that by, after you add the first one, enter the next one. And you repeat that process for all titles you held at that company. So if you got promoted twice and had 3 different titles, there should be 3 entries here. And you must click Save to complete the entry once you've entered in all of your titles and all of the information on the Employment Information tab. The bottom of the background of the Qualifications and Experience tab will show you a copy of the supplemental investigation questionnaire that you started at the beginning, that before you got into the application. This is a read-only section. You cannot edit your answers. If one of these answers is wrong, you're going to need to delete this application and start a new one. The next tab is the Child Support Certification tab, and you're going to start with a single question. Are you under a court or administrative order to pay child support? If you say no, great, you're done with the tab. If you say yes, you need to enter your child support account number, and a second question will come up. Do you owe arrears equal to 4 months or more of child support payments? If you say no, again, great, you can move on. If you say yes, there's an additional question about what applies to you, about the different options. The next tab after this is one that only shows up some of the time. The Supplemental Affidavit tab appears only if you answered yes to questions about convictions or penalties and fines on the Background Investigation tab. If you did, then you'll go to the Supplemental Affidavit section, tab, and you'll click plus add convictions to enter details of your convictions, or plus add penalties and fines to enter details of your penalties and fines. So here's how it works. The conviction details, you have to enter the date of the conviction, the charge or offense, the name of the court, the location of the court, and what the sentence or disposition was. Under penalties and fines, there's a different pop-up where you need to enter who the debtor is, and the options here are self or company. If you choose company, you have to say what the company is, the amount owed, and the New York City agency or authority that is owed to. And the options are sanitation, fire department, DEP, NYPD, buildings, or other. After this, you're going to go to the Required Documents tab, and it's going to list all of the documents you need to submit. You'll click the Upload button for each document to start the process of adding that document. And you'll get a pop-up saying, upload a document. It'll automatically have the document type based on where you clicked the upload button. And then you need to click Choose File. That'll open up your window that allows you to navigate to the document on your computer and select it. Once you're done, click Upload to complete the upload process. And you need to do this for each required document. In addition, you can choose to add additional supporting documents. You do that by clicking the plus add document button above the required documents. And the process is the same. It's just instead of, for example, experience verification forms, it will say additional supporting document 1 or additional supporting document 2 or additional supporting document 3, depending on how many you're uploading. Now there's a section on this tab called Documents Removed by User. The only documents that you can remove are additional supporting documents. And it will show up in this section if you remove an additional supporting document while your license application is in objections or QA failed status. In that case, if you remove an additional supporting document, it'll show up in the Documents Removed by User section. The last tab is the Statements and Signature tab. And on it, you're going to need to click some check boxes to sign the application. The first one is this license application certification, and you'll click that checkbox. And then there's a bunch more. The additional attestations, with one exception, must all be, you must click the checkbox for them. The additional attestations are for background investigation, voluntary authorization for service of process by email. This is the one that you don't have to click the checkbox for because it is voluntary, but all of the others you must click the checkbox for. There is a substance abuse attestation. There's an authorization for service of process by agent. There's a statement and signature, and then there's a child support attestation. Answer all the attestations appropriately. So answer yes to all of the ones that require a yes. You don't have to click the one for voluntary authorization. Now, the reason we have the payment process as the last step is actually something that's important to know. Once you make a payment on a license application, you can no longer delete that license application if it's wrong. So if you make a payment and then realize, for example, you clicked the wrong button on the supplemental investigation questionnaire, you're going to have to contact IT support in order to delete that application. So we recommend that you pay the fee at the end of this process. So over here on the right, you'll see some buttons, and the bottom one says pay now, and it'll list the amount. The amounts differ depending on the license type and what you're doing with it. Again, clicking this will take you to the CityPay site. You must pay the amount in full. Partial payment is not an option. You will not be able to submit your application until you have made payment and filled out everything. Once you've done that, you'll click the Preview to File button. Now, one of the nice things about DOB Now is that when you click the Preview to File button, if you missed something in your application, it's going to highlight it for you so you can go back and fix it. And I have done a lot of applications as part of my prep for training, and it's really nice to not have to search for what I missed. It's going to be highlighted for you because I have absolutely missed questions. Once everything is filled out properly, clicking the Preview to File button will allow you to actually submit your license application. You're going to get an application preview pop-up. This shows you all of the information you're entering, and you're going to want to review it by paging through, by clicking the next button, all the way through to the last page, 6 in this example. At the bottom of the last page, there is a checkbox to sign the application. Click the checkbox and the File button will become active. And so you'll click the checkbox and then you will be able to file your application. You'll get a pop-up notification telling you that's been submitted to DOB for review. And the status bar is going to update to pending background review. If the status bar does not update, you have not submitted your application. You're going to get an email as well telling you that your license application has been submitted and it's awaiting review. Now, let me check real quick because often people are working in the system. Let's see if I can save now. Yes, I can. Wonderful. And now I can show all of this to you. As I said, we're working hard to make sure this works. So if you want to add business information, you click Add Business Information and enter all of the information, things like business type, business name, so forth. I actually need to enter one because I want to show you the partner information. Oops, street name is Broadway. So I'm going to click Save just to make sure that's locked in. And now I can choose to add partner or officer information, which is all of this information. I need to specify whether I have a named agent. If yes, I need to enter their information. If no, I don't. But either way, there is a checkbox you must click. Now, we recommend that you save before switching tabs because you don't want to lose any information if something goes wrong. So now I'm going to click on the background investigation tab, and I need to enter any licenses, certifications, or registrations that have been issued to me and their current status. I need to answer whether I have a driver's license and whether any license applications have been denied or licenses have been rescinded or revoked and so forth. The personal information section is where I would enter prior names that I was known by. And then we have the question about being employed by a city, state, or federal government agency and being related to any employee. Note, if I say no to all of these, their comments are not required. If I say yes to even one, comments become required, and we can tell because of that red asterisk. I need to enter all the places I've lived for the last 10 years. So I would note that if I say this is my current address, the to field goes away. So I entered the dates and the location. Again, I'm going to click save before moving to the next tab. On the qualifications and experience tab, for this one, I'm going to click yes to these 3 questions so that you can see the supplemental affidavit tab. When I click save, the supplemental affidavit tab now shows up. I need to enter my employment history. So for example, my current job, I can say, and by the way, ownership interest can be 0. You must enter what your ownership interest is in the company, but you don't have to have a value above 0. Then I enter my supervisor name, title, license type, so forth. And on the wages detail, I'm going to enter my title, what time period I had that title, what my wages were, wages per hour, hours per week, and type of work, and click add. I can do that again if I had other titles. If I was, for example, just some samples. See how you can have multiple titles there, and then you click save. And then we see the supplemental investigation questionnaire. I can't change these, but it does show me how I answered. Under child support certification, if I am not under a court or administrative order to pay child support, I say no, we're done. If I say yes, I need to enter my child support account numbers. And then if I owe arrears, there's more information I have to enter. Incidentally, answering yes to this question will add a document to the Documents tab where you have to upload information about child support. Let's save this. Now the supplemental affidavit tab, remember, only shows up if you answered yes to the questions about convictions and fines. So if you have any convictions, you'll click plus add and enter all of the information. And if you have penalties and fines, you need to enter who the debtor is and the details. Note if I choose company, company is required. If I choose self, the company is not a required field. And this is who I owe it to. If I choose other, by the way, I need to enter who I owe it to. In the Documents tab, all of the required documents are listed. So I'm going to click the Upload button to upload a document. I'll click Choose File to navigate to the document on my computer. Click Open. and then I click upload. And you will know that your document has been uploaded because it will change from required to pending. I can also click add document to add additional supporting documents. The only difference here is I'll have to choose whether it's document 1, 2, 3, so forth. And as I mentioned, the documents removed by user section also shows up here. And then on the Statements and Signatures tab, I need to click the checkbox to attest to each of the required questions. I do not need to click the checkbox for voluntary authorization for service of process by email, but all of the others I must click. Once everything's been filled in, I will click the Pay Now button. When I'm done, I'm going to click the Preview to File button. But note, this is telling me, oh, you skipped some stuff. So I would have to go back to that section and it will tell me what's missing. For example, the state and driver's license number here. So that's really nice because it helps identify exactly what you still need to fill in. Once you submit your application, there are 3 options for responses to your applications. Approved means the background investigation is complete and the license application can move forward for review by the licensing unit. There's objections, which means that there is an issue with the license application that must be addressed by the applicant before the background investigation can be completed. And this could be something complicated or it could be something simple. Oh, you only uploaded 4 out of the 5 pages. There's a page missing from that document. Make sure you upload all pages. Or it could be something more complicated. Or they can choose to deny it. A denial means the license application cannot be approved with the information given. If your license application is denied by the background unit, you have the option to request reconsideration. So let's talk about objections first. If there's an objection raised on a license application, you're going to receive a notification email. You'll need to log into DOB Now Licensing, and from the My Applications tab on the dashboard, you'll open the application that's in objection status. You're going to see a new Objections tab, which will display the objections. You'll click the objection or objections. You'll click the drop-down arrow to see the comments. You need to add any additional comments in the comments box and click Update. You also need to update the actual application, fix the document problem or whatever else needs to be done, excuse me. And then you will click Resubmit. Now, you will probably also have to reattest to some of the attestations, but the system will tell you. You'll resubmit your updated license application. And note that it's only when you click Resubmit that the review happens. It will not be reviewed again until it is resubmitted. Now, let's talk about reconsideration. If a license application has been denied by the background unit, you have 60 days from the date of that denial to request that the application be reconsidered. Reconsideration can only be requested once. If the reconsideration is denied, a new application must be submitted. And the 60 days is a firm deadline. If you have a reconsideration request in pre-filing on day 60 and you do not submit it, on day 61, you are no longer going to be able to submit it. So that is a firm deadline. So from the My Applications tab on the dashboard, an application that is in denied, you'll go to Select Action and choose Reconsider. You must click Save on the Reconsider application. And then on the Documents tab, you need to upload a reconsideration statement / affidavit explaining the reconsideration request. You can also replace documents as needed, but you must upload this statement or affidavit. Once you've done that and reattested, you'll click Preview to File and submit your reconsideration request. There is no fee for submitting a reconsideration request, but if you don't select Preview to File, it will not be reviewed by DOB. Now, let's say you've been through all this process and your application has been approved. Next step is to get the license. First, you're going to receive an email notification that your application has been approved, and now you need to schedule an appointment. You're going to log into DOB Now licensing, and the application status will be approval letter sent. You need to go into that application. You can double click or on it to get there and click OK on the pop-up. On the Statements and Signature tab, there are 2 new attestations called Executive Order Attestation that you must click the checkbox on. Executive Order Memo 1 and Executive Order Memo 2. You need to do that before you schedule your appointment. It won't let you schedule your appointment until you've clicked these. Then select Save. Then you can go into the New Appointments tab, and you click plus Schedule Appointment to schedule your appointment. The new appointment window will open up, and you'll select an appointment date from the calendar, and you'll select an appointment time from the drop-down menu, and then you'll click Schedule. You'll get a confirmation of the day and time you selected. Click Yes. And the appointment details will now show up in the Appointments tab. If for some reason you need to cancel your appointment, you can actually do it right from this tab by clicking on the Cancel button. You will get an email confirming the appointment. On the day of the appointment, you need to come in to 280 Broadway on the first floor in Manhattan. You must attend the appointment yourself. A representative cannot obtain the license card for you. The license card will be issued at the appointment scheduled with DOB. If a picture is necessary, it will be taken during that appointment. So, comb your hair if you need to. Now, once you have your license, there may be some things that you need to do with your license, and we'll talk these through. So some of the options are, you can renew your license. Your license is going to expire after a set term. The term depends on the type of license you have. Could be 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years. You can start requesting renewal 90 days before expiration, and it can be requested up to 1 year after the expiration date. Remember, if you wait until 30 days before the expiration date or after the expiration date, you will have to pay a late fee. Now, if your card was stolen, lost, or you never received it in the mail, then you can request that it be reissued. You can change your named agent, and that's the individual you assigned to accept service of notices of violation or summonses that are issued by DOB. And you can update business information. We'll go through each of these, and then we'll talk about something that's specific to site safety. So to renew your license, there is a button that says Renew License. You'll click the Renew License button, and you're going to get a pop-up listing all of the licenses that you have from DOB that are associated with your DOB Now account. This won't list any licenses that are not yet in DOB Now. It'll only list DOB Now licenses. You need to choose the radio button associated with the license you are renewing, and then click Proceed. It will ask you, is this a renewal with change? If you say yes, then you'll be able to update the information on your license application. If you say no, you can't make any changes because it's a renewal without change. So make your choice and then click Next to continue to the supplemental investigation questionnaire. By the way, this one offers the option of changing business information. Depending on the license type, there may be different options here about what you're changing. Once next is selected, the supplemental investigation questionnaire is going to show up, and you'll see the same questions you saw in the initial license application. You need to answer all the questions in order to be able to submit the questionnaire. You'll be brought into the general information tab, and it's going to auto-populate the information from the prior license. And if it's a renewal without change, that information cannot be changed. It can be changed if it is a renewal with change. And you'll see the application type here as either renewal or renewal with change. You will need to reattest to the named agent information on this page and then click Save. If it is a renewal with change, you can change the business information or partner or officer information. Once you click Save, you'll get an application number and the 5 new tabs. Again, the information from the initial license application is going to auto-populate in those sections. Fill in all new or updated information, upload any required documents, and complete the attestation on the Statements and Signature tab. You will then pay your fee for the license renewal. And once you've done that, you'll click Save and then Preview to File. You'll need to review your application like I showed you before, and then click Submit. The process for review of a license renewal it goes from pre-filing to pending background review to pending QA review to approved to license card issued. Specifically, it's going to say renewal approved and renewed license card issued. Once the licensing unit has approved your renewal request, you're going to receive an email notification, and your new license card will be sent out in the mail to you within 10 business days. You don't have to come in to pick up a renewed license. Reissue license is very similar to renew license. So you're going to go to the Manage License button and hover over it, and then select Reissue License. I will note the options you see here depend on the license types you have. For example, if you don't have an HMOB license, you're not going to see Crane HMOB ratings. So you'll click Reissue License, and you'll get your list of licenses. You need to choose which one you are having reissued. You'll have the Supplemental Investigation Questionnaire pop up, answer those, and then you'll get the General Information tab. The information is going to be auto-populated from the original license request. And there will be a question here that you have to answer, the reason for reissue. The options are stolen ID card, lost ID card, or you could actually have never received ID card. And that only applies if there was an ID card mailed to you that you never got. So like if you requested renewal and you never got your ID card in the mail, then you can say never received ID card. Or if you asked for a reissued license and it didn't show up, you can request a second reissue and you'll see never received ID card. You'll click Save and get an application number and the rest of the tabs. And the process is just the same as we saw in renewal. Fill in all new or updated information, upload any required documents, and complete the attestations on the Statements and Signatures tab. There is a flat $50 fee for reissuing a license. You'll need to pay that and then click Save and then Preview to File to submit the application. The reissue application is going to be reviewed by the licensing unit, and you'll know it's been submitted because the application status will be pending QA review. Again, once the licensing unit has approved the request, you'll receive an email notification, and the new license card will be put in the mail within 10 business days. Now, for both renew and reissue, you will see the application on the My Applications tab of the DOB Now licensing dashboard. We'll talk about the other tabs with some of the later options in this presentation. Now let's talk about changing your named agent. This is a very straightforward process. Now, as a review, a named agent can be any individual residing or with a place of business in the 5 boroughs that you have assigned to accept service of notices of violation or summonses that are issued by DOB. To change a named agent, you're going to hover over Manage License and then hover over Named Agent and select either Change Named Agent or Remove Named Agent. You'll get the pop-up with the list of licenses, and you'll choose the appropriate license and click Proceed. And then you'll click Yes on the confirmation. Are you sure you want to change or remove the named agent? The existing named agent information will show up at the top here, and you'll enter the new information down here. You'll click Save. On this, there's only 2 tabs on this. The second tab is a Statements and Signature tab. You'll click the checkbox to attest. You'll click Save again. You'll click Preview to File and then Next to review all pages of the application. If everything's acceptable, click the checkbox to attest at the bottom of the final page and click File. Now, unlike every other request we've talked about, there is no review process for named agent. It's going to be auto-approved. What if you need to update your business information? Now, you can update your business information as part of a renewal request, or you can update your business information as a standalone transaction. And as a standalone transaction, you're going to hover over the Manage License button and select Change Business Information. Again, the options under Manage License depend on your license type. When you choose Change Business Information, you'll see the General Information tab with the request information, and you need to click Save in order to make changes. You'll click the plus Add Business Information button to add a new business, and you fill in all of the information and select Save. Now, if you have a business associated with your license, you can update or delete it by clicking on the action buttons. There's an update button and there's a delete button. An edit button, I should say, not update. Edit button opens the pop-up where you can edit the data. Clicking delete will display a pop-up asking for confirmation. On the Documents tab, you will have some documents to upload, like a notarized letter, proof of name change, proof of residence. There is an attestation on the Statements and Signatures tab. Once you've done all of that, click Save and then click Preview to File. Page through the request. If it's acceptable, check the box on the final page and click File to submit the request. The last thing we're going to cover in the Manage License section has to do with 18-month trainee enrollment. Excuse me, I've been talking a lot. I need some water. One option for training as a site safety manager is to complete an 18-month on-the-job site safety manager training program under the direct supervision of a certified site safety manager during the construction or demolition of major buildings in New York City. The supervising site safety manager must register the trainee with the department prior to the commencement of the training program and certify the trainee's satisfactory completion of the training program at its conclusion. Up to 3 trainees can be registered at a time, and this is done through DOB Now licensing. This is an option that is only available to site safety managers because it must be a site safety manager who is supervising this. They're going to log into DOB Now licensing with the email address associated with their license. And then they're going to hover over the Manage License button and choose SSM Trainee Enrollment. They'll select their Site Safety Manager license and click Proceed. Then they need to enter all trainee information. Note that the trainee does not need to be a registered DOB Now user. The form can be saved prior to the completion of the training program. So for example, this training program started, this sample one, started in May of this year, and it's going to end in 2025. I can put all that information in and save, but I cannot submit the form until the training end date has passed. So once the form is saved, the status bar will appear, as will a new Documents tab. And note that it's QA review for approval. In order to submit the form after the end of the process, the supervising site safety manager needs to upload on the Documents tab the 18 months training program monthly summaries document. In addition, on the General Information tab, they need to fill out the SSM comments. Was there satisfactory completion of the training program? And details. Once all that information is entered, the form may be submitted. Registered 18-month trainees will be visible on the 18-month trainee enrollment tab of the DOB Now licensing dashboard. Let me show this to you. And now I'm going to do something that you're never going to have to do because in order to log in as someone else, I need to clear my browsing data because of cookies. So I'm going to log in now as someone who is a site safety manager. So note, this person is a site safety manager. Their license card has been issued. I'm going to go to Manage License and choose SSM Trainee Enrollment. I'm doing it under my role as a site safety manager. And I need to enter the trainee start date, their first name, last name, their telephone number, their email, and the training end date. So we're going to go 18 months in the future. I think that's 18 months. I didn't count carefully. And I'll click Save. At this point, I have notified DOB that I'm going to be supervising this person. Now that is saved. I go to the SSM trainee enrollment, and I can see that I have this person in pre-file. Note that this person is also their information has been submitted. You can have up to 3 trainees at a time. When the training is done, I'm going to come in. I'm going to go to the Documents tab, and I'm going to upload my 18 months training program monthly summaries document. And on the General Information tab, I'm going to enter whether they satisfactorily completed the training program and the details. That are not already on the document. I would click Save, and then I would click Submit to finish the process. Remember, you only submit once the training is done. I promised earlier that I was going to talk about how to update your name or address once you have a license in DOB Now. So let's talk about that. In order to do that, you're going to hover over the Manage My Profile button and select Manage Profile, and then you can choose Change Name, Change Address, or Change Name and Address. Whichever you choose, there will be a confirmation button. You're going to be brought into a new window where you're going to see your existing information, the name and the current address, and you're going to see blank boxes to enter new information. The blank boxes are going to depend on what you said you were updating. You will see name if you're updating your name. You'll see address if you're updating your address. Enter all of the new information and click Save to generate a request number. In the Documents tab, you're going to need to upload proof of whatever is changing. So if you're changing your name, you'll need to upload proof of name change, which is a current photo ID. Driver's license, learner's permit, state ID, green card, or passport. If you're changing your address, you would need to upload proof of residence, utility bill, bank statement, or lease/deed. On the Statements and Signature tab, you will need to attest to your update request by clicking the checkbox. You'll click Save, and there is a fee of $50. The fee of $50 is because your license card needs to be reissued with your new address and/or name. So pay that $50 fee, and then you can click Preview to File to submit the request. You'll page through the request and check the box to attest on the final page, and then you'll click File to submit the request. Once the licensing unit has approved the request, you will receive an email notification of that approval, and your new license card will be put in the mail within 10 business days. I want to give you some important notes before we open up the floor for questions. Once your license application is approved in DOB Now licensing, it will be added to your DOB Now profile. When the email address associated with the DOB Now profile is entered in the stakeholder section of the DOB Now filing, the name, business address information, license type, and license number from the profile will auto-populate. So if someone is filing a site safety plan and they put in your name as your email address as the site safety professional, it will pull all of the information about your license from DOB Now licensing. The e-filing or DOB Now and DOB Now authentication process is no longer required to add your license information to your DOB Now account. That is only for license types that are issued in DOB Now biz options, not DOB Now licensing. If you need to make any changes to the information associated with the license issued in DOB Now licensing, you need to request and approve it in DOB Now licensing in order for it to be available for use in a DOB Now filing. So I want to thank you for your attention, and we're going to open the floor for questions.